Good afternoon. My name is Mubarak. I am an associate accounting technician and a soon to be chartered accountant. So, in this video, I'm going to take you through group accounting. So, group account is a set of financial statements prepared by combining the financial statements of the parent and of the subsidiary and eliminating common transactions between them so as to present a financial statement that makes them a single economic entity. So under group accounting, we have the parent company and the subsidiary company. The parent company is the company that controls the subsidiary. They control the subsidiary. So they have full control over the subsidiary. The subsidiary is the company being controlled, being controlled by the parent. The company being controlled by the parent. Also, we have the non-controlling interest. So the non-controlling interest is whenever, let's say, a parent A acquires 70% of B, the non-controlling interest is just the NCI is 100 minus 70, which is equals to 30. The remaining 30%, which was not acquired by the parent. But there are some companies that naturally they acquire, let's say, A acquires, this time around, A acquires 40% of B. Then A itself, since it is less than 50%, A itself is a non-controlling interest of B. So this diagram, A acquired B 40% is the group structure. Whenever you are calculating any question under group accounting, the first thing you do is to draw your group structure. When you draw your group structure, this is simply it under simple group accounting, and this is basically for skills ICAN level because in professional you deal with complex group accounting. So now A acquires 40% of B. This is the group structure. Now the next thing you do is to determine your purchase consideration. How much did A use to acquire 40% of B? So let's say they said A acquired 40% of B for 3 million naira. 3 million naira. We assume. And he paid cash of 2 million naira. So the cash that was paid was 2 million naira. Since okay, let's make this to the nearest million, and then cash consideration was 2 million naira. So definitely, and the remaining 1 million naira will be paid in the next 2 years. In the next 2 years, and they gave us that there is this the discounting factor is 10%. Your discounting factor is 10%. So you have to do a calculation on this deferred consideration and use the discounting factor approach, which is 1 plus r raised to the power minus n. So in this case, our r, since it is 10%, is 0.1. 0.1 raised to the power minus n. You know, I said 2 years, so raised to the power minus 2. Then you multiply it. Since they've already paid cash 2 million and the total amount which it was acquired for was 3 million, definitely the deferred consideration, like the amount they are supposed to pay in the next 2 years, should be 1 million. But once you multiply 1.1, you know, this would be 1.1 raised to the power minus 2 times 1. So let me get my calculator. I'm so sorry if you can't actually see this. I'm trying to the board isn't spacious enough. So 1.1 raised to the power minus 2 multiplied by 1. So we have 0.826. But remember, this is in the nearest million, so it's like 826,000 or something like that. So let's just use the 0.826. 0.826. That would be our deferred consideration. So initially they are supposed to pay 1 million. But when you calculate your deferred consideration, the total amount they will later be paying will reduce, since you have to use your discounting factor of 2 years and the rate which was given in the question. So that will be 2 points. Your total purchase consideration in the end will be 2.826. And this is your purchase consideration. For the next thing you have to calculate is your identifiable net asset. Identifiable net asset. Remember that your net asset is also your equity. Under the accounting equation, we say our asset is equals to equity plus liability. So our equity is equals to asset minus liability. Though this doesn't matter, since our equity is the same thing as our net asset. So now, for this, I like to use the tabular approach, and you can use any approach you find easier for you, but for me it's the tabular approach, and that's what I'll be taking in this particular video. So now, in the tabular approach, you have your at reporting date, at acquisition date, and the post acquisition profit. Take note of this. This is the post acquisition profit. Don't worry about all this. I'll have a comprehensive note that will be in the description of this video, so you can just go to the description and download the note that will be explaining all of this. So now we have the ordinary shares, and for this identifiable net asset, we are talking about the net asset of the subsidiary, not the parent. The net asset of the subsidiary. So now the ordinary shares, at reporting and at acquisition will be the same actually. The shares didn't increase, so X and X, and when you subtract them, this minus this, you have dash. Your retained earnings, in the question particularly, they will tell you that the retained earnings at acquisition date is this, and they'll give you like a balance sheet which will have your at reporting retained earnings. So when you subtract them, you have a value. So now, in some cases, they might tell you that they actually revalued some assets, so you can have your fair value adjustment. And when you're having your fair value adjustment, you can have revaluation gain or revaluation deficit. But let's just assume we're having revaluation gain. So now, it was before the acquisition date that they actually made mistake of, and it was after the acquisition that they revalued. So both the reporting date and the acquisition date will have this revaluation gain, and the net will be negative, dash zero, sorry. For the depreciation, there will be, normally they were supposed to have excess depreciation, because like they've undercharged their depreciation, so you'll be less than this. And at acquisition date, it hasn't depreciated at all at that time. It is at the end that it will actually depreciate. So this will be dash, and then you'll be having this value back here. Then for your unrealized profits, let's say there's an intergroup transfer. There is a transfer between company A and company B. And now, I want you to take note of this. Under this intergroup transfer, if the parent is the one selling to the subsidiary, let's say the parent is the one selling to the subsidiary, definitely this unrealized profit will only be charged under the retained earnings, the consolidated retained earnings. But if the subsidiary is the one selling to the parent, we'll be having it under the INA, like I did here. So if it is the subsidiary selling to the parent, we'll be having our unrealized profits under the INA. So without wasting much of our time, let's move on to the next calculation, like the next step, this step 1, step 2, step 3. And that's goodwill. Your calculation of goodwill. So now our goodwill is actually very, very easy to calculate. For our goodwill, you say the fair value of our purchase consideration (PC) plus the fair value of our NCI at acquisition. Please take note, at acquisition, minus the fair value of INA at acquisition. So they are both at acquisition. The fair value of NCI at acquisition will be given in a question, but if it is not given, you can actually use your percentage to calculate it. Then the fair value of INA at acquisition will be the value you get here. You understand? So you add this plus this, then you less this, and that will give you your goodwill. So sometimes you might have negative goodwill, and when there is negative goodwill, we call that gain on bargain purchase. Yeah. And your negative goodwill will be added to your consolidated retained earnings. Take note of that. It will be added to your consolidated retained earnings. So for working number 5, we'll be having our NCI valuation. NCI valuation. So you can have the NCI at acquisition, this guy again, acquisition, and then the share of post-acquisition profit, And normally, this fair value adjustment, depreciation and unrealized profit, you can actually normally come and do it here, but then you'll have to do it for NCI only. But since I've already done it here to get my post-acquisition profit, I can just use my post-acquisition profit directly and I'll calculate my NCI valuation. So you add this plus this and to give you your NCI valuation. So for the next one, let me clean here. Don't worry about you not saying this. As long as you understand what I'm saying, there will be notes in the description of this video. Just download the notes, and the notes itself will be explanatory enough, but with this, they will complement one another and you will get it hopefully. So step number 6, you calculate your consolidated retained earnings. Now for your consolidated retained earnings, let me just call it consolidated retained earnings, CRE. The first thing you do is your parents retained earnings, then plus share of PAP, share of post-acquisition profit, and then you add both. But if you were the type that actually separated the fair value adjustments and your unrealized profits when you were calculating your NIE, then you'll have to come and do it here again. And from this, you can now prepare your statements or your consolidated statement of financial position or consolidated statement of profits or loss. So let's take a question.